Welcome to Stress and Purpose in Life podcast. This is Stina, and welcome again. And today I have an amazing show. I have the one and only Dr. Brody Miller here. Welcome. So pleasure to have you here.
Awesome to
And we
be
are
here.
going to talk about a world is. We have so much performance in our world right now, and people get mentally exhausted, and people are also having other brain injuries, traumas, and everything that affects their performance and how
Mhm.
they feel about themselves, the well-being. And this amazing Dr. Brody Miller, he has a great solution, and I know many people of you already know him. And we're going to talk about mental fatigue and brain injury and how we can, to some extent, cure it or anyway master it in a good way,
Mhm.
right?
Yep. Yeah.
So warm welcome to you, Dr. Brody. How are you today? Great to have you here.
I'm great. Thank you for having me on.
Fantastic. So can we start by introducing you to the audience for people that don't know you? I mean, the most people on Instagram, I think, know you, but many people perhaps don't. So could you please explain a bit who you are and perhaps something about your journey also to where you became a professional in this area?
Yeah, absolutely. I am a neurorehabilitation specialist, so I work with people who have concussions. I've worked with people that have brain injuries. I've worked with people on the neurodiverse spectrum, as well as athletes that are looking for higher performance as well. So it's kind of a wide variety there. But a little bit about me is I'll dive into my story just a little bit so you can understand why I do what I do. And so I always start with the story. 12 years ago, I was outside of a nightclub and I ended up getting in a fight outside of the nightclub with a bouncer. And this guy was about 3 times my size, and he knocked me out. And unfortunately, local news TV stations saw it, and over 100,000 people ended up seeing this incident before even virality was a thing. And so obviously it was a very low point in my life for myself and my family who had to go through that. And a few years later, I developed a brain leak, which is basically blood was leaking into the rest of my brain and causing me to have grand mal seizures. And I was having about 3 a month. On top of that, bad chronic forearm pain. And so I was depressed, obviously, but doctors told me that I needed medications for the rest of my life and that I needed to learn to live with my situation. But something deep within inside of me did not want to live with what they were saying about me. And a long story short is I ended up discovering about neuroplasticity from several people. One of them was Dr. Joe Dispenza. And
Yeah.
the other one was John Assaraf, who is now a friend of mine and co-signed my book. And that's just a miracle because before I didn't know that the brain could change, heal, and adapt. So I thought that it was fixed after 25, and so I had to live with it. But then once I knew that, and I was motivated to get better, and I did everything I could do, exercise, nutrition, meditation, breathing exercises, stress reduction, visualization, affirmations, all of these wonderful natural tools that we did to rewire the brain. And I got back into school and ended up finally completing my PhD research in 2024, and that was awesome. It was
Wow.
about how TBI, traumatic brain injury, and how you can use mindfulness meditation scientifically to rewire your brain after that. And so that's my journey in a nutshell, and I feel so lucky and blessed to be able to now have my life's purpose.
Yeah, it is amazing that such a trauma where you came from is you have a cure now, and you have developed that through scientific methods. And I'm so amazed by that because this will help so many people. And what I would like to know is like you like challenge the conventional medicine, right? We're doing this. And you have had clients that had success with it, of course, but it must have been very challenging for you to. I mean, it's a unique techniques, and having the time to do it, and having the courage, and yeah, you have the time. You must have the time for it, and you must really focus on it to cure yourself. But it must have been a challenging journey, right? So for clients that are using this method, how long does it take before? Do they have to do everything, or do they have to do specific things, or how long does it take for them? Because they must keep motivated, no? Because many people have bad mental fatigue or bad brain injuries, and many people there are different levels of that, of course. But how long does it take normally? And
that's a wonderful question. And so in order for the best results that I've seen is somewhere around the 90-day mark, if they're committed and they're doing all of the exercises. And the reason why 90 days is science says it takes 60 to 254 days to create a habit in the brain. And a habit is a new network of brain cells that have grown and strengthened to make that habit automatic. And so some people, quite honestly, do take longer, closer to, 120 days or 150 days. But it's putting all of the tools together bit by bit, piece by piece, with the knowledge. When you have the knowledge, you also have to build the experience and the skills. And when you combine the two, skills and knowledge together, then suddenly you're on the right track. And it's also about eliminating bad thinking patterns, bad behaviors, and bad habits as well.
Yeah.
It's equally as important, which most people overlook. Because in order for you to create good in your life, you have to get rid of all of that bad too.
Yeah. But what is the main misconception about brain injury recovery? Because I have many people in my network that have they suffer from mental fatigue, and they say the brain injury is too bad. I'm not gonna get well, never. I'm not gonna get work nowhere near when I'm 65 when I go, retire in Sweden.
Mm-hmm.
What is the misconception, and why is this working, and why do people that believe that it doesn't work? Some of them.
Well, I would say probably misconception number one is that I'm going to have to deal with this for the rest of my life, that it can't get better. But I would say the second misconception is that you just need to go sit in a dark room and wait it off. So we do need rest after a brain injury, absolutely. And I think you've experienced one yourself.
Yeah,
if I'm
but it
correctly.
was a smaller one. But yeah, I
Yeah.
have. I know the feelings, and I also had, because I also had brain injury before. That we talked about that.
Yeah, that's right.
And then I got mental fatigue as a result. So I know that also. But yeah, many people have severe and it's different levels of it, of course. So
I think that the main misconception is to lock yourself in a room for 2 months and just wait it out. That's not good advice. We need rest, but we also have to activate the brain because it's a muscle. The brain is the most important muscle in our body, and we can do basically bicep curls for the brain to stimulate it, lower inflammation. And when we lower inflammation, as well as stimulate it and grow it, then the mental fatigue can disappear for many people.
yeah, and that is revolutionized. I think it's amazing because this is a universal problem, right? Many people are getting mental fatigue and getting brain injuries. Many people have lived with it also for a long time, and so it's really amazing that we have that knowledge. And what I was going to ask also, if people are trapped in this and they don't feel that they never going to get out of the trauma from the brain and everything, what is the first critical step to take to really get motivated to start off with this method that you have?
The most critical piece is the education aspect, because it's just like a car motor. If you're out and you're trying to, you need a mechanic to go in and figure out what's wrong with the parts of your car. You open the hood. Unfortunately, with the brain, we don't have as many tools. We have scans and things like that we can do. But the thing is once you understand, because it's your brain, you understand how it works, why it works, and like what's causing the root cause of your symptoms, then you can begin to learn the tools that you need in order to heal your brain. And that's what I learned from experience. Like I learned
Yeah.
from healing my own brain, but also the knowledge that I learned along the way, helping others and doing the studies. And so when
Mm.
you combine those two, that's true empowerment.
Because you have shown photos on your Instagram and your social media everywhere about how you had a really bad injury and you are healed from that. So it is amazing, and that's a living proof that this works also. And I hope the listeners really go connect with you regarding this, because I believe in it also. I've also lived through it and I believe it. So perfect. But then I go through the next question, because this takes a lot of time, daily routines, and you talk about habits.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a lot of habits that don't are not good for us, right? And
Mm-hmm.
the habits that we suffer from, right? We don't need them. So getting that routine to focus on getting rid of mental fatigue or getting healthier in my brain, or whatever the reason is that you do this. But that is a challenge, right, to many. What would you say to those people that sit there and don't take the time, no? Or
Well, I would say that everybody has 5 minutes a day. That no matter what the habit, skill, behavior, or action that you want to be, there's zero excuse to say that you don't have 5 minutes a day to read. You don't have
yeah,
5 minutes a day to meditate. Because I know we all live busy lives, but you have to make time and prioritize. It has to be the most important thing in your life that you prioritize, because without your brain health, you don't have anything. And so if you don't fix this supercomputer, your $1 billion brain, which is the root cause of what's going to get you to complete all of the goals in your life, then you're really in trouble. So you really need to prioritize it above everything else, including family, friends, including work. If this is working right, then the rest of your life is right.
yeah. And I think this is also, I don't know if you're the PhD student professional here, but I was asking also because we have different kind of challenges with the elderly people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what do you think? Is this method also working to like that you don't get those illnesses that you get when you're older, right? If you get dementia or whatever it is, Parkinson. Do you think this method, if you prepare them and try them, if you have a healthy brain right today, right? Is that also good for later on? Do you think, or do you have some proof there that this has worked, or is it something that is testing out now, or?
Well, full transparency is I don't work with a lot of elderly clients, but I will say that um, that the methods that I use, I help my parents that are in their early 70s. I helped
Oh,
use them apply it, and so far they've been having lots of great results. And I would say that with brain health as it ages, there are some amazing studies that show that Parkinson's and neurodegeneration and all of this is reversible,
yeah,
because it's almost as a the brain is important, but it's also to understand that we have what's called epigenetics, which is the study that our genes change depending on what we do. So if I were to smoke a cigarette, that's a very negative thing for the genes in my body. but
Yeah.
in the DNA. But if I were instead to go exercise, that's a completely different release of chemicals in the brain, hormones, oxytocin, what they call dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and epinephrine. So you
Yeah.
take that dose. Exercise is your dose. And
The healthy
movement,
hormones, right?
the healthy hormones
Yeah.
and neurotransmitters, and it will be a completely different outcome. We
Yeah.
want to change. It's a little more difficult with people that are very old because we all have a life trajectory. So if you
Yeah.
were to imagine we're flying from London to New York, but that plane, if you just change that plane by a few degrees, then it lands in a completely different place in Canada. So all you have to do is change your life's trajectory a
Yeah.
little bit over a long enough period of time. Your life
Yeah.
changes.
So it could be applicable to not get ill when you're older and use it now for people that are healthy also. It could work. I mean, yeah, great. Is there some, I mean, you're a remarkable witness of this amazing method that you use, but do you have other people that have come to you and say, okay, I really feel that this has, I have gotten cured or much better regarding my brain injury or my mental fatigue, that it has improved their health, mental health? Or do you have some cases that you can explain, something that you have been working through with the clients and see their results getting much better than what they thought perhaps from the beginning, right?
Absolutely. I woke up this morning and I got a text from somebody who I had worked with over a year ago. And let me go pull up what he said because it was very powerful for me.
Yeah, please do.
He says, he said, "Hi, Dr. Brody. How are you doing? I hope that you're doing well. Congratulations on your PhD. I wanted to share with you that I moved to Saudi Arabia. I started a new chapter in my life, and I want to share it with the people that I am close to, and you're on the top of this list. Your training helped me take a control out of my situation and make many hard situations much easier to deal with." And so that person was suffering with depression, anxiety, and procrastination. And the thing is when you learn how to use what's in here and you reduce stress, like I think we should have a conversation about stress because stress is the most toxic thing to your brain because it takes blood away from the front of your brain and sends it to the limbic system. So literally it shrinks certain areas on the outside that are responsible for thinking and decision making. But when you reduce stress and you feel good, then suddenly blood flow travels back to the frontal lobe and it grows and it strengthens and you're able to be much more sharp, have sharper thoughts, have sharper actions and decisions. So it's really worth learning how to reduce stress.
Yeah, and it is very important because that is also what this aim for my podcast also is, to find methods to do that. Do you see what do you think the health challenges is when we talk about stress management now and also brain rehabilitation? What do you see the next generation? How will your methods be more? I mean, healthcare systems are so, they're so traditional, right? And this is quite new. This is something that now perhaps scientifically is something that shown that evidence that it's work. But do you think, what is the future for this in medicine? I mean, this could be really something that will we see that in healthcare systems as well as a method to cure mental fatigue, for example, or what do you think about that?
Well, I would love to see that. I think in an ideal future is that we combine the best out of Western medicine and combine that with Eastern medicine. So what Western medicine is very scientific, A plus B equals C thinking. Eastern medicine is more holistic, and knowing that the brain and body are interconnected. But there's not a lot of science backing up Eastern medicine. But when you combine the two, you can combine the science and best tools with the holistic, knowing that our body is interconnected. That's where I see things going, hopefully. And I think I would call it consciousness medicine. That is the future.
That's a beautiful title for this. Yeah.
I would say consciousness medicine is helping people change their conscious awareness and their ability to raise the frequency of their body and the cells of their body at a higher level and be happier and more peaceful. And that's the way that we get better as humans.
I totally agree. I'm so glad that you're on my show. You're amazing, you know. Thank you for being here.
Certainly.
I would like to ask you, because you told me before we started this recording that perhaps you could show me some of your techniques. Will you share something with us?
Yeah, I would love to.
Yeah, exciting for the viewers. I think it's really, and for me also. So
yeah,
looking forward to it.
I would love to. So I'll just start with the science real quickly. That understand that our hands are incredibly important. Number one, because we grab onto things, we touch things, we sense things. We have so many use cases for our hands. And when there's a lot of brain real estate that's dedicated to the hands. So if you opened up my brain and you looked when I was moving my hands, there's a lot of neurons dedicated and brain cells dedicated to that. And so there's an area in our brain called the motor cortex that it signals when I'm making a movement. So with my hands, if I'm moving my hands like this, it's being stimulated by the left side of my brain. And when I'm moving my hands like this, it's being stimulated by the opposite side, the left side. And so now that we have the science out of the way, one great exercise I like to work with people in the beginning is do a pinky thumb. So you would put one thumb up on one side and you would put a pinky on the other, and then you would nice and slowly switch. And then so I do this all the time, right? So it's very easy for me. I do it a lot.
Oh, wow.
But most people find that in a couple of minutes that they're able to do that. It may be very difficult at first, but then they could with 2 to 3 minutes of practice, they can accomplish that movement.
And that is not that difficult if you're working and you feel that you don't have time. You can do that anywhere, you know.
Yeah, you can anywhere. And it's a great way to stimulate your brain. You could take a brain break.
Brain break and pause and do that as an exercise.
Exactly. And the second one I want to talk about is paper, rock, scissors. So we all played this game growing up. Rock, paper, scissors. So you go rock, paper, scissors, rock, paper, scissors, and then you do it as fast as you can. And that's a great fun way to do that and just test yourself. How fast can you do it? And that actually activates the front of our brain, the frontal lobe, because it's a difficult pattern and sequence.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing it. Because I saw you on Insta, you have some of those practices that you show on Insta also. And I think, it's not possible to do what you're doing, right? But it is, of course.
It is
training.
It is with practice, you know.
Yeah, wonderful. Okay, so is it something more that you would like to share with the viewers? I think perhaps where they can connect with you, or something else that you want to share regarding what they can take with them from this episode. What the most important thing is for them to think about.
I think I'd just like to leave with the thought that you can get better, and understand that it's like climbing a mountain. We all are climbing our mountains together. But like when you're climbing a mountain, let's just say in the Himalayas, you want to point towards where you want to go. So you can always take baby steps in that direction of where you want to go instead of focusing on the past. So always stay future focused, and always have your mind on where you do want to go instead of where you do not want to go. And if people want to work with me, they could find me at drbrodymiller.com, drbrodymiller.com, or they can just find me on Instagram, Dr. Brody Miller, drbrodymiller. And I offer several things. I'm doing a group coaching program for people who don't have as much money to work with me one-on-one. But I also take applications for people that want to work with me directly one-on-one.
Yeah, amazing. And I think this is so important because many people need this help, but they go to normal healthcare systems and they don't get cured. And perhaps it's just to contact you and get this training and the habits, new habits to really get cured or anyway get better in some way. So thank you for being here.
Yeah.
And it has to do a lot with making your priorities right, like that you prioritize your life right, and also have the right habits, because it is you choose your life, right, how you want to live it, but you have to do it yourself. And thank you for having those methods to help out. I think
certainly.
So thank you again for being here. And I would like to end with talk to the listeners a little bit, and thank you for also listening to this amazing episode. And please connect with Dr. Brody Miller here, because he's an amazing person, and this he knows this. He's an expert in this. So if you want to get cured or never get help, then contact him. And otherwise, I would like to thank you for listening, and I hope you tune in next time, and stay subscribed to our channel, please, and to not miss another episode. And I'm so happy that you have listened. And until next time, live with purpose and self-leadership is it also about, like, and live with balance and think about your brain health. It is important. Thank you for listening, and until next time. And bye, Brody, for now.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.